First, I want to thank everyone for signing on to YouTube. Given my other conflict, it was the only way I could present today, and I'm well aware that this is not the most entertaining video that you'll find on YouTube. Just to remind you, I'm Chief of Radiology at Kaiser East Bay, covering 2 hospitals in Oakland and Richmond. The business plan is simple. In times of economic turmoil, people lose health insurance. A prepaid health plan like Kaiser's needs to maintain patient population to survive, let alone thrive. Maintaining health care to a broad segment of society is part of Kaiser's core value and, historically, their mission. I believe that people will stay with or choose Kaiser for health care for cost, quality, or service and access. And of these, service and access are the most important, and I firmly believe that most people judge quality simply by service and access. Therefore, in our little corner of healthcare in radiology, immediate imaging, access, and great service are both good medical care and good business. And I think it's probably fair to say that historically, service and access has been the Achilles heel both of Kaiser in general and our own department. So my project concept is pretty simple. It's immediate or next day imaging as much as possible while still maintaining personal service and care in East Bay Kaiser Radiology. I recognized a couple of immediate challenges last December. First, we simply didn't understand our workflow as a business. We had no good information about daily and weekly demand for our various modalities or for the capacity of our machines or future appointments. We also weren't giving any daily or weekly oversight to appointment filling, unbooked appointments, failed to keep, and room productivity. The information we did get regarding access metrics and total volumes was all delayed by at least 4 weeks. Oddly enough, last December, that seemed like a relatively audacious goal. 6 months later, same-day access is a nearly daily mantra, both locally and regionally. The specific targets are, as you see here, 2-day access for scheduled exams in CT, MR, and ultrasound, 20-minute wait times for outpatient ED and stat X-ray exams, and 1-hour wait times for inpatient X-ray. We also have targets for total mammography screening as well as allowing daily walk-in appointments. We have a number of specific measurements. Initiated to seen is the time from receiving the requisition to the time the exam is actually performed, which is a regional metric. We also are measuring in places wait times for inpatient, outpatient, and ED exams. We also have set up data to assess the number of open bookable appointments 1 to 7 days in the future. Long term, there's always the metric of member-patient satisfaction scores. Timeline is to reach these goals by September of '09. Interestingly, by this time, I consider some of these objectives, in fact, not aggressive enough in terms of access. The team structure has several layers, with the most important function arising from the base of this pyramid. I and the department director have an oversight role and help with direction and target setting. Because monitoring our supply and demand and access is so critical, I've appointed a data analyst, our 1 department manager, and a department sub-chief as access leads. Each modality has 1 physician, a manager, and a technical lead responsible to assess the daily schedule, booking, and staffing. I have felt a bit like a Boston Terrier yapping at the heels of this group, and to help jumpstart the process, for the past few months I've asked each modality to institute at least some kind of access or service improvement change every 2 weeks. The third level of team function is at the unit-based team, which is the broadest based and I think potentially the most important, particularly as it engages the broader group of staff within the department, because it is these people who actually provide the service and care in the department and who are most important for access. And if this group can be empowered to make change, to be engaged in the process of continually improving access and service, at that point this project will be embedded within the fabric of the department. I have to emphasize that in radiology, unlike some other specialties, access is a function of staff and scheduling, and it really is not radiologist productivity. Embedding this project in radiology means embedding a new way of thinking about how we serve our imaging patients. Sustaining the process means continually monitoring service and access and continually changing our workflows and process. It really means encouraging everyone to think about imaging service in a new way and empowering those who interact with our patients to propose changes to adapt to the variable demands in each of our modalities. This team functions at 3 levels. First essential ongoing function is to have weekly simple reporting that tells us what our access is, our supply, our demand, and how we're functioning. The second level is to have the access and the modality leads, both physician and technical, to assess our access, make changes to schedule and function, and to have ongoing projects of improvement for access. Long term, I am counting most on our unit-based team to engage the broadest segment of the department, because these are the people who actually provide the direct service to our patients and who will make the changes to their workflow and daily practice to ultimately improve our access. So what do we measure and what looks like success? One, of course, would be the simple metric of access targets, maintaining current demand levels, but also the whole substructure of what we're trying to do, and that is creating a set of useful daily reports that will help us monitor access, establish a functioning access team such that these processes are monitored and changes are put in place to address our access needs as they change in the future. We want to create a culture in the department, probably through the unit-based team, of continued improvement in access and service. What we have so far are some glimmers of hope. This is one graph showing one of the metrics that we follow. The line with the blue diamonds on the top shows the initiated to seen percent, the number that are seen within 10 days. The gray hatched graphs at the bottom show the number of pending cases. So what you'd like is the blue line to be as high as possible and the gray line to be as low as possible. And in January we can see we provided sort of mediocre service with 60% of patients seen within 10 days. This is the graph in ultrasound over the last 4 months. In ultrasound, which has been one of our highly challenging modalities, showing a significant improvement in our initiated to seen, with over 80% now being seen within 10 days. This was achieved predominantly through achieving full staffing of the modality, as well as paying closer attention to unbooked appointments, failed to keep appointments, and making some relatively minor adjustments to daily schedules around lunchtime appointment schedules. But I don't want to pretend that this has been an unmitigated success. Here's the graph from MR scanning, in which we have not really been able to achieve a sustained improvement in access despite careful attention to our schedule and unbooked appointments. So we still have certainly work to be done. Perhaps as important to our long-term success, I think, are graphs like this, which give us a weekly summary of our overall demand, our total number of pending cases, our future open appointments, and it gives us a week-by-week gauge of how we're doing in terms of meeting our patients' access. And this we've been able to accomplish just very recently in the last month or two. And I think this for the first time gives us a way to respond in a much more adept fashion to meet patients' demand and achieve access. And I think one point is clear. Until you really look at things like this, you have no hope of understanding why you do or don't meet good access targets. And the most hopeful outcomes from the team so far has been this initial project from the unit-based team, which chose to address the wait times in the main department by changing some of the staffing in our digital rooms and the way we distributed cases and measure the wait times. And you can see there was an almost immediate response to decrease wait times in the main department for x-rays. And as an initial project, it was interesting and important. And if they can continue this level of functioning, I think this is what will really make this sustainable. Two main questions at this point. One is, how do you embed this process of continuous improvement in service and access into the culture of the department so that it becomes a daily way of thinking and acting in our department? Second question is, how do you engage and empower the frontline people who actually provide the service and access and care to our patients in the process of suggesting those changes and implementing those changes on a daily and ongoing weekly basis? Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't heard my voice, it's because I was not able to sign on from my work-life balance part of the project from Feather River Camp. That's okay. But I do appreciate any kind of feedback by phone or email, and I will see you all in San Francisco next month.